Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. As you may all know, in case you don't know, but you should know, I just had a short film release on YouTube, my very first short film, emphasis on the first, I think people like it. I'm not sure, comments and everything have been somewhat positive in a positive way, and I'm excited for the future. But this video is just me talking about my experience making this film, just to encourage filmmakers out there who don't know what to do. They're stuck just like I was stuck before making this short film. Just encouraging you all. There are other videos you can go and have people encourage you, but I need the views more than the other channels do on this channel. So please do not click off after like 2 minutes. It's going to be very offensive to me if you click off this video just after watching the intro. All right. Hello everybody, how are we doing today? I'm going to talk about, I just said that before, but talking about the film I just made, a short film I just made. It's called Tired. It's on the YouTube channels. You can check the description or something. It's there. You can go watch it. I'd really appreciate that. And I want to talk about like my process, the process of making this film, from the idea phase, coming up with the idea for the film, to writing it, even though I didn't need to actually write the script for this. I could have just written something down to guide me, but I felt like I needed to write. But the idea, the writing, the pre-production, production, and breakdown, one of them breakdown scene video thingy, challenges and everything that I faced when making this. Everything, we're going to discuss everything, and I hope you enjoy me yapping for the next I don't know how many minutes, whatever. Just enjoy the video. Every great artistic venture starts with an idea. You have to think about it first. And before the idea even came, my initial plan when it came to filmmaking was to, at some point in the future, when I was ready, when I was comfortable. And one thing, never ever
1 eternity later.
Ever wait till you're comfortable before you do something. If you wait till you're comfortable, you wouldn't get the adrenaline, the vigor to do something. You wouldn't get the same level of satisfaction as when you did it in your least comfortable state. I initially never planned to make a short film at this point in time. I was just thinking, let me just wait, right at this point in time, I was supposed to be somewhere learning screenwriting. I had plans to, brush up on my screenwriting skills, then brush up on my directing skills before I ever even attempted to make anything remotely close to a short film or anything like that. But, as it did not work out. So I was like, what if I just made a short film? Right? What if I, there was a particular guy I was following on Instagram, YouTube, whatever, TikTok, Instagram and TikTok, and he's also a filmmaker as well. And he was talking about, he's going to make a no budget feature film, and he was, talking about the process his process of making the film. And the camera he was using was one of these camcorder type cameras and everything, and I was inspired. I was like, wait, this guy is actually making moves. He's not waiting around for someone to give him a pat on the shoulder like, yeah, go make your short film. No, he's not. He's actually going to make it. And I was like, yes, you know what, I'm inspired, let me go make something too. And I was thinking to myself, okay, how do I go about making a short film or a film in general? I really didn't know much about filmmaking. At this time last year, it was just an idea. Being a filmmaker it was still something just of an idea, like something of an idea for me. I didn't even know much about the filmmaking process. I just knew shoot something, you edit it, and somehow people see it. And I dedicated, a good amount of time to learn certain things, learn how the film process works, learn about editing. I already knew how to edit videos then, but color grading, learned screenwriting, learned cinematography to a very, 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 very minimal extent, because I'm still a novice when it comes to that. And I was all right, I could make something, I could cook something up. And I actually had access to decent cameras. Like this camera I'm using right now, the Sony ZV-E10, was what I used to shoot the film. I had access to another camera, which was not my camera, it was a friend's camera. I even had access to like a Canon R50V. But the only reason I didn't use that to shoot was the lack of lens options, because there are more lens options I had for the Sony than I had for the Canon, so I didn't use the Canon to shoot anything. So that was it. The idea came. Initially I was thinking, okay, I want to make a short film. I was like, what kind of a short film do I want to make? What was going to be that groundbreaking idea that I was going to implement that would make something so beautiful, so amazing, all that stuff. And I didn't know what to make. I was lost. After so much chair rolling, bed rolling, sitting on the toilet seat longer than you need to after you're done with your business, finally came up with something. And this is one thing I want to touch on. Some of the best ways to come up with stories for as a filmmaker, writer, whatever it is you want to do, right? Always have a piece of your personal experiences sprinkled inside. It's the best way to actually come up with one of the best ways actually to come up with stories. And I started thinking to myself, okay, what is one thing about myself that I would like to, touch on and share, right? And that was when I came up with the idea of being, the tired plotline. I was like, okay, this is an experience I've had before. When you come back from work, you're tired, and then life just goes and you're stuck. You feel like you're stuck in it at one point. There was a time I felt like that actually, and I felt, okay, that's an experience. That is an experience that can be told into a story. And then I decided to write it into a story, and I wrote it into a story, and here we are talking about the story as a short film. I wasn't, thinking of telling a complex story. Initially, I wanted to shoot this whole thing myself. I approached a friend. I was like, I want to make a short film, and I need your help. Like one of those films, all those films where they're like trying to do like some kind of heist or something, and then you walk up to your guy like,
I'm putting together a team.
We're in.
Good. Let's shake hands like tough guys. Some of your sweat went in my mouth.
He was like, yeah, sure, I'm down. And then, I started planning the film, coming up with different shots. And this was actually the room where I shot. This is my room. I shot a lot of the short film in here. I was just sitting around thinking, okay, looking around my room, I'm like, okay, this can work over here, this can work over there, the shots, the camera. I was just looking around trying to piece together the film, and I was able to come up with something, right? Like I said earlier, I didn't really need, because it's something so short and so simple, and so I didn't feel like, okay, it needed a script. But I just wanted to have that experience of writing something, having a script to look at as, oh, okay, let's do this, let's do that, that get that director feel, what I'm saying. Anyways, I wrote it. I'd been learning screenwriting for some time at that point, maybe a couple months. I was like, okay, let me write this. Let me just put this into like a script and see how it goes, right? And initially, like I said, the story was just going to be one person, so I didn't see the need for any sort of like monologue or dialogue. I wanted it to just be like a visual, almost completely visual story, and that was one of the things that inspired the style of the film. I remember walking up to my friend. I was like, hey, I have this short film I want to make, and this is what I want to do, this, that. Came up with the short list, and we said, okay, let's plan a day for us to actually come around the house, test out the different locations and the shots. And I just want to say something. Any cinematographer out there who understands lighting, you are loved. Loved at home, loved by me, loved by the world, everybody. You are amazing, and God bless you, because lighting is not easy. I mean, you could have a vision in your head for what the lighting should look like, and then you place the lights and it looks like nonsense, looks like shit. Sorry for using that language. We started working, we're like, okay, let's plan a day where we'll come, look at the different locations, set the lights, and figure everything out. And we did that. Okay, the first day came, we set the lights outside, it was the first scene. We actually started playing the first scene, the scene where he walks into the house and then he shuts the door. Initially, that first scene was supposed to be him opening the door, and then there was a close-up shot of his face, looking all miserable, sad, and depressed, and then walks in afterwards, and then we go back to the wide shot of him closing the door. And then after sitting with it, I was like, that makes absolutely no sense to me, and that was not, I scrapped that aspect of it. But I remember sitting in that door, that hall, that lobby, trying to figure out how we're going to shoot it. We spent an hour just lighting up the scene, almost like the entire day, that period of time when we were trying to figure out the lighting. We spent all that just trying to light one scene. I was like, oh my goodness, is this how we're going to do for every single scene? I was like, if this thing gets to a point where I cannot make this film, I'm just going to pretend like this whole thing never existed and go on with my life. But the determination was there, and I stuck true with it, and all that. So I made a short list, a very mediocre, weird looking short list, just so we can have an idea of what we wanted to do. And obviously everything I was trying, I didn't have, so I was like, let me shoot it with what I had. And I didn't want to overcomplicate the planning, so I just focused on the things I could do. And then the lighting, one of the things that stuck out to, like, one of the things in this film that was like very intentional for me was the lighting. Like I said, I spent almost an hour just trying to light up one scene, that very first scene. And I didn't just want to blast light here, blast light there, and just shoot. I wanted it to feel intentional, like, yeah, I'm trying to shoot something. I didn't just want it to feel mediocre and all that. So that was something that really took my time. One of the scenes that I people told me about, like, wow, Stephen, how did you do this, was the microwave scene. And for that scene, I had to shove one of our lights inside the microwave. I didn't put on the microwave. I'm not that stupid. Okay, I'm not stupid at all, but like, I'm not stupid. Okay, I didn't put on the microwave, but I shoved the light inside, closed it, and then blasted it through the tiny microwave thingy, the microwave glass, right? And then I just sat in front of it, thinking of my life, thinking about how if this film flopped, and was rubbish, after I've hyped it up so much, just thinking of different things. And then we shot it, and it came out decent, it came out all right. And a lot of the other scenes were just me, and I shot most of the scenes were shot with ring lights. Like, I have, like, the ring light I'm currently using here, it has this diffusing thing on it, so it's not really as harsh. And a lot of the scenes where the lighting was like, for example, the scene in the wardrobe where he's standing, there was a light on top, but I had to put it high enough it doesn't shine directly on top of his head, but at the same time where he can still capture his existence properly. A lot of times when you're shooting something and then you don't light it up properly, the lighting begins to feel unnatural, and I didn't want that. So I had to like really push my lighting skills to the max and beyond. I wasn't even nervous about, just, the lighting and all those things I talked about, shooting and all that. I acted in this film. It was me doing all the movement and everything. And I was like, what if I look off? I'm not an actor and I don't like acting anymore. I wanted to be an actor before, but like I changed my mind and stuck to filmmaking. I didn't want to act it. But obviously, I didn't know who I could trust to act for free. Obviously you have to pay the person, but like I didn't know who I could say, okay, come and act this out for me. And I decided to do it myself. I think I did a decently good job, like a decently manageably good job. I didn't do too terrible in that. So one thing I didn't really take into account, which I feel I should have done much better, was in the sound department, because I did record the sound directly into the camera, and my initial plan was, all right, after we're done, and after we're done cutting the film, we record certain sound effects, which I did to a very decent extent, but I felt I should have at least gotten some natural sound directly into the camera that was clearer than what we actually recorded. So I had to literally go around recording different actions into like a microphone. I didn't even record myself doing that. And then some of the other sound effects, I had to go online and look for sites where you could literally download sound effects and then just paste it into the film, because again, it didn't have dialogue, so I didn't really think too much into the whole sound part of the film, the sound part of the film. Which again, I'm going to say this: always focus on your sound. Your sound is just as important as your visuals in a film. Never ever forget that. Never. Yes, a filmmaker, sound. Thankfully, I had good sound. I think it was my sound. I don't know. Thankfully, I had good sound. The editing was where the juice. That's where the juice was. The editing was where things were. I realized a lot of things, because I color graded the scenes myself. I spent, is it hours? I don't know if it was hours, but like I spent a while on DaVinci trying different nodes, different things, different LUTs. I had to go download a bunch of LUTs, download a lot of plugins just to get a specific look on the film. And at first, I think there was a part where I was color grading, and I tried to put in like film grain into like the scenes, just to give it that kind of like mushy film look. And I'd already cut everything, edited together until I looked at it. I was like, this thing does not look natural. This looks forced. I don't know. Film grain looking forced just makes the quality of your film look bad. I had to go back to DaVinci and start recoloring everything. I didn't really do much of recoloring. I just took out the film grain, started readjusting a couple things, and and at that point in time, I'd already edited and exported the video, and I was uploading it. When I rewatched it again and I saw that one little detail, I was like, this is not nice. One of the scenes in the film, right, that I shot, the last one where the camera was moving and he was moving back and forth and everything, I'll say that is one of the best scenes I have shot. That was the best, in my opinion. That was the best scene I shot in the entire film, because initially, even as at the time when we were shooting, we were planning, I had no idea how I was going to pull that scene off. The scene where he's getting up, okay, he realizes, oh, she's morning, it's late, I'm late, and he's getting up and he's trying to like figure out his whole dressing and all that. And I was thinking to myself, okay, how do I, show this scene and let it look pleasant to the eye? Do I just cut into for him in different locations? It wouldn't feel, like, I don't know the word I'm even looking for at this point, but it wouldn't have worked for me. So I was stuck, right? I was like, okay, you know what? When we get to that junction, we'll cross the bridge or something like that. And then, I was sitting, right? I was literally, let me show you how exactly how I came up with that scene. I was like this, yeah. I was like, wait, hold on. And I was like, hold on, that could actually work, right? So I just started rotating myself. Like, I was like, okay. And I could see the vision. The vision was clear. The vision was very clear. I was seeing everything. I was like, okay, going from here, I could just rotate the camera and then follow him back and forth, as it's going back and forth, just move the camera with him. But then again, I was thinking about it, like, I don't need to follow him. I just need people to know that he is rushing. I'm like, okay, maybe I could just move the camera all the way while he moves back and forth, and then the idea came out. Like, yes, we're going to go with that idea. And then, it came out. The execution was decent, in my opinion. At some point, I wanted to redo the whole thing, but like, no, you know what, this is fine. Let's go with this. And yeah, it came out well. One of the things I would say that I realized from this whole experience was, don't look down on your abilities. If you know you have a vision and you feel you can do something, go for it. And don't wait for it to be good before you actually take a step. Right now, with this short film, I can go and request for a budget and be like, hey, this is a script I have and this is what I can do, and maybe they might listen to me and give me their ears because I have something to show for it. But don't be afraid to make something, even if it sucks, right? Even if it's bad. Your first film isn't going to be perfect. This film is not perfect in any ways. It's decent, but it's not, perfect. I feel I could do better. Even right now, if I'm doing the film right now, just a few weeks after doing it, there are some things that I would improve on, and that's life. Life is about improvement, right? So go out there and do it. Just go shoot something, shoot it. But again, sprinkle in a little bit of excellence. Don't just shoot whatever you feel. You just think of something creative. Try and be at least creative, and all of that. Before I close up, I am currently working on a film, right? I'm currently working on a short film. This is going to be like everything I have learned, all like in one very, 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 like, this project is something I'm passionate about. What I'm currently working on, I can't wait for it to be done. I can't wait to be done with the script. But one thing I don't have, and one thing this film needs, is funding. One thing this film needs is funding. So, obviously, at some point, I'm going to come on this YouTube channel or wherever you're seeing this video, and I'll tell you that, hey, I need XXX amount. Sorry, I'm gonna say XXX. I need this, and that amount of money to fund this short film. And I know that you watching, you would contribute to the production of that film in some way, in some form, in some scope, So yeah, I'm currently working on a script, still in the early stages. I hope I planned for it to be my last short film. I had 2 short films planned. Well, I have decided to let go of one and focus on this current one because this is the one I'm more, passionate about making, and I hope to get it made somewhere between now and next year. And we'll see how that goes. The most important thing is just to get the script done, and we'll see what happens from there. So thank you for sticking around. Really appreciate that, and I hope to see you guys more, interacting more with the videos and all that. Like I said, I'm trying to get monetized, so you guys could rewatch the video multiple times, just so my watch hours can, pew. Anyways, thank you all. I'll see you all. Yes, you. I don't know if my finger is going to be in focus, but I'll see you in the next video.